What? Okay, sorry about that. Not sure what was happening. We always have audio issues. The computer's just never ready for the live stream, and I'm just checking here, and everything's all connected here. So, welcome back, everybody. Happy Pi Day. What I was saying in the intro was that my producer was saying everything's okay. Okay, that's great. And happy Pi Day. Hopefully, you guys are eating the toasted ravioli, the Emo's Pizza, White Castles. Make sure you're eating everything. And of course, you're eating pie, of course. But we are back on here for another live stream. We have been broadcasting on our Facebook page that we do have severe weather that is going to be possible. We're going to have severe weather. We're going to have snow. We're going to have cold temperatures. We're going to have Missouri in 24 hours, okay? That is the best way to explain it here. You can see the talking points here on the screen. We're going to take a look at the timing. We're going to break down the timing hour by hour like we normally do. We're going to let you know the impacts of what's happening here. And the snowfall, I readjusted the camera and I forgot I was out of frame. We're going to let you the snowfall totals and the amounts and, the timing on the snowfall. My personal opinion on that. And if you have any questions, make sure you're letting me know in the chat and comment where you guys are watching from and let me know what you guys did on Pi Day. And I would love to hear about it. But without further ado, we're going to get right in live stream. Looks like we have a couple people in here. Let's make sure we're sharing the live stream and make sure that everybody knows that we are going live. Because the Facebook algorithm is a little bit on the slow side when it comes to things. Let me just mute the thing over here. Mute all my notifications. We'll mute it just for a little bit, but how's everybody doing? Let's get into the live stream here, and we're going to start off with the most highly requested photo and most posted photo is the severe weather outlook. And there's a lot going on here. I'll just say that there is a lot of stuff going on here, and I'm going to break it down to the best of my ability. So can't see it on the screen because the format is just a little bit off. Okay. Green over here to your left, that's 1 out of 5. None of us are in that, so fortunately we have to not worry about that. But we are back in the 2 out of 5. Remember that from last time, everybody? We are in a 2 out of 5 of severe weather. 2 out of 5. It's not 2 out of 5 chances of seeing severe weather. That's not what that means. It means that we're going to see isolated severe weather. Like I said, we'll break down the timing in just a second to see why I say isolated. And as we go into the orange area, that is a 3 out of 5. That means we could see numerous severe storms here, and from the last couple of days, honestly, the enhanced risk has been bouncing around. Actually, it was just a little bit to the left here. I'll show you where it was. Let's get the pen. It was just like a little bit, including DeSoto, a little bit of downtown St. Louis, Edwardsville, but it get pushed to the south east, and I highly agree with that. I think that is appropriate place, but like I said, this is almost like the same setup, but the enhanced risk was north and way out of our area. But places like Belleville, we have a couple people in Belleville, Waterloo, Edwardsville, all the way down to St. Genevieve, and we'll even include the Potosi, even though the east side of town and Potosi is in the 3 out of 5 in severe weather risk. And for the rest of us, like I mentioned not too long ago, we are in a 2 out of 5 risk for Union, Winsfield, St. Charles, Alton, and Jerseyville, Troy, and every place that is near those locations. And let's get you the breakdown real quick before we go into the timing. Tornado risk with this, you can see parts of the area like Warrenton and the Troy area are not in a tornado risk. We have a 2% chance of tornado risk. Doesn't it sound familiar just like a couple days ago, everybody? We have a 2% tornado risk for just about everybody. Places down near like the Ellis Grove in Illinois, like Redbud, places like those are in the 5%. But we do have the little hatch risk here. This little darker spot with all the lines in it. Looks like someone's beard. And that is a 2%, which means if there's a tornado in this area with the little gate looking thing, that means a significant tornado. We're talking EF2 plus will be possible. And I think there is a small chance, like I said, we'll show you in just a little bit, but I'm just showing you the breakdown of why we have this risk. But the main probability is going to be the wind, okay? The wind is the highest probability. I'm just going to break it to you. We have a 15% chance of seeing damaging winds over 70 miles per hour. And over here in the hatch risk, which is majority of our viewing audience, we have a chance of seeing over 75 miles per hour wind gusts, which will cause some power outages at times. And like I mentioned, even with the cold air coming, it's bringing a lot of wind too. We have a wind advisory coming in at 10 a.m. We'll show you that in just a second. But winds will be whipping. And as we go into the red part, that is a 30% chance. That's almost towards the high risk of seeing wind, damaging wind. That's where we could see some 80 to 85 miles per hour. So Potosi, Farmington, and Greenville. And then off to the southwest near Marion, east of Mount Vernon, places like those are in a 45% risk. And sometimes, you know, a lot of people have sent me a message and it's like, Kenny, why is this not a high risk when we have a 45% wind chance? And the only reason is because sometimes we can have a high risk, but we're not too confident. So we don't want to pull the trigger and then, we're not confident we're actually going to see that. So it's just another way that we can pull this and still keep it enhanced risk and be conservative, which I think it is perfectly understandable and reasonable. So that's the quick. But the main area that needs to be focused is if you're in the red area. So we're going to zoom into some places just so you know if you guys are in there. And so if you're like on the east side of Potosi, Park Hills, Festus, Waterloo, Belleville, and all the way down to Highland and Pocahontas, places like those are all in the significant wind. And if we back up a little bit, St. Charles, Union, Steelville, that's where we can see isolated gusts up to maybe 80 miles per hour. And hey, everybody, you guys just tune in at the perfect time because the hail risk, wait for it, there is no chance for hail, okay? So if you have heard anything about the hail, there is no chance for hail at all, okay? We're not even expecting it. Don't worry about it. Your car's going to be just fine. No hail. And if you want to know, hail is going to be up to our north, and hail is going to be down towards our south, where it could be a little bit significant towards very deep south there. Excuse me, sorry. And you can see Mother Nature was nice enough and left the gap open and let us get a free pass for this severe weather event. Not for the rest of them, just for this one. So that is the outlook there. And now we're going to get into the timing because we have a lot of stuff to break down. And we'll break down the wind. We'll break down the wind risk. And we'll also break down the winter weather. What I think on the winter weather. So let me just zoom in just a little bit just so we can get this out of the way. You can see the current hazards on your map. The brown one, that is just a wind advisory. This is an advisory that you could get blown over on Sunday. It goes into effect at 10 a.m. So just letting you know it's going to be breezy. So just be prepared for that. Honestly, we will all be okay, but I just want to let you know that is issued. So just keep that in mind as you're going outside if you have any plans, and make sure to secure the objects, because not only for the storms, but before the storms happen, we want to make sure nothing's blown around. I don't want anything that is yours landed in my yard, okay? I will appreciate the nice gift, but I do not want it. I am okay. So let's go into the timings first, okay? Here's the timings. Make sure we're sharing the live stream because I have gotten a lot of requests. There's a couple of events going on, so I got a lot of requests on the timing. So let's break this down for you. This is the latest further out data that we have, if that's even a word. Time is coming down in the top part of your screen so you can follow along here. So this is all the way through Sunday. And let's take a look through Sunday here. So follow along with me because we're going to show two models. And let's go. All right, so Sunday morning. Sunday morning, this is 7 a.m. See at the top part of your screen. Everything is going to be okay. We could have some isolated showers in the morning. We have to watch that because I I was seeing that on the early parts of the models here, on the model runs, and that may be a helping factor of limiting any severe weather risk here. So we have to watch to see how that plays out. But take a look here. Make sure you're on your phone screen, taking a look at the screen. Make sure you can see it because it's going to go very fast, okay? So as we get into 11 a.m., okay, we're going to have the line start developing just east of Columbia, okay? At 11 a.m. east of Columbia, the line is going to start to form. Now we get into the later part, an hour ahead, around lunchtime. Then we have the line, this early part of the line, we're not expected to do anything, okay? This might do something, but at the moment, we're not expecting anything at this time. But take a look. You see how there's another line behind that? This is what we have to watch here, okay? And my greatest concern will be in this line because it's going to be a little bit tricky how to explain it, but I'm going to make it easy to learn for you. When these form, if they remain discrete like this, see how they're by themselves? We could be talking about some tornadoes, okay? We could talk about some tornadoes that could form. We're not talking about the last outbreak, you know, that's the stuff that happened in northern Illinois, Indiana. We're not talking about like a significant tornado outbreak where you need to panic. But there is a chance if these remain discrete that we could see the tornado warning around the St. Louis region. And as we continue to go through the afternoon hours, we have to watch because they're going to go into a line, okay? Now, once they go into a line, this is where we have to watch our damaging wind threat. And you see, just like how the outlook was, this is where we could see 70 plus miles per hour. Remember, it's already going to be windy outside. And we could see some quick spin up tornadoes, okay? And remember, when we have these quick spin up tornadoes, it's hard to issue a tornado watch, okay? So we might not have a lot of warning if we do have a quick spin up tornado, okay? We're not going to have a tornado watch to let us know that it's happening. We may have a severe thunderstorm watch, but that does not throw out the tornadoes, okay? So if we get a severe thunderstorm watch, don't think, oh, we're okay. We're not. We still have to watch the tornado threat, okay? But I'm just going to back up just a little bit because I wanted to show you guys something. If this line forms around like 1 o'clock and it's like over convection, like there's too many storms in one spot, the tornado risk is going to start turning into that isolated brief spin-up tornado. We're talking about EF0, you know, the ones that we heard about in Madison County. It's going to be like one of those if we do have a tornado. Maybe a roof blown off, but mostly wind and tree damage will be possible. But as we go into the afternoon time, this is where we really have to watch out. As it starts crossing the river, I don't know what the river does, but it always enhances it. But you can see as we get into 3 p.m., everybody behind here, behind this line, if you're behind it at this point, you're good. You're going to be cold, okay? Everywhere out in front is going to be warm and nasty and muggy. And all this, basically the storm system is going to do is it's going to keep enhancing itself to the east. So we're getting the start of it. It's going to build up and then it's going to start to go east. So this is where we really have to watch the tornado area. Our folks in Illinois, especially Waterloo, Columbia, Redbud, Highland, places like those really have to be the places where we have to watch for the quick spin up tornadoes. And like I said, we might not get much warning for them. We might get a severe thunderstorm warning and the tornado is happening, okay? It's just going to be one of those days. So you have to be paying attention, okay? So make sure you know where to go when you get a warning. Make sure you're watching the Facebook page. And, of course, as soon as we get our first warning or watch, or if it looks significant, we will be live. So make sure you're checking back. Not quite sure when we're going to go live, but we'll be live for severe weather covers. We're going to give you the advance warning that you need to make sure you're staying ahead of the storm. So make sure you're checking back for that. And then by the time we get to about 5 p.m., it's going to be out of our area. But we have to switch to precip type, everybody, because not only we're done with the severe weather, we have to talk about winter weather. Okay, this is classic March setup. This is not unheard of, okay? A lot of people are confused about this, but this is not unheard of. It's actually common as well. It's just, we're just right in between the seasons, so it's perfectly normal that this is happening. So let me take a look here, and you can see as we go into the evening time, we may have a break in the action. So around the evening time, we may have a break of the action, but look at the snow. The snow is really not doing much here, and it almost just gets sucked up by dry air, and because the cold front already moved, bringing in the dry air, and not anything is happening. Maybe like a flurry or two, and that's just about it. So we're not talking about like your car's gonna be buried, you have to call off work, and even by the time we get into the early parts of the morning, look at the top part of your screen, the time. We're at 5 a.m. and the snow, whatever is left, is way out of our area, so impacts are good. If you have spring break starting this week, a lot of people do have spring break starting this week, and it's going to be fairly nice. I'm not really seeing a whole lot of impacts, and just to confirm those impacts here, we're going to show you the snow amounts, okay? So take a look at your screen. This is a new product that the National Weather Service is experimenting, but it gives you a really good idea here. Let me just get this out of the way. I got a lot of questions. Wisconsin, everybody? Wisconsin is probably going to see almost up to 24 inches of snow. So, unfortunately, that's not going to be us. I don't want that to be us. And here, if we go to the St. Louis, we click on this dot right here. It goes by the airports. And let me see if I can zoom this in. So here is the expected snowfall here. Let me see if I could zoom out just a little bit. It's on the right part of your screen here. And, okay, I don't think this, like I said, this is a like a new data. But basically what it's saying is saying like 0.08. Let me go to this other data here. Hold on one second. I'm going to get us to the other page just so you guys can see it easily. Because this one is just bugging out. Like I said, it's an experimental product, so just bear with them while they work on that. So give me just a second. Here's the snowfall. Let's see, local. No, I don't want that. Yeah, not sure why it's doing that, but I'm not sure if you guys could see. Okay, there we go. My producer got it for us. Thank you so much for fixing that. And so look, low end, here's for the St. Louis area, okay? Low end is 0 inches. So on the low end, the best case scenario, we get nothing. Expected is trace. And basically what trace is we're not tracing anything. And what it means is just a dusting, okay? It's just a fancy way to put 0.5. Okay, so it's just a dusting. And then the high end, we're just looking about 1 inch worst case scenario for the area. And you can see the probability of exceeding. This is exceeding the inches. This is not reaching. So 0.1 inches, about 68%. So we're probably going to see a dusting, if not just a little bit less. 1 inch will be 16%, and then once we get to 4 inches, 1%. So like I said, this is not significant. This honestly, everybody, talking into the microphone, the only part that you should worry about is the temperatures and the severe weather part. Okay? Everything else will be okay. The snow, do not worry about the snow. Don't buy out the grocery store. I'm going to go back to the future radar here, because this is what we need to watch here. Because, like I said, the storms are going to be developing in our western areas, okay? So, if I had to be honest with you, the places like in Warrenton and stuff like that, I think they will be okay, because it's just going to be forming at that point. But once we get to like St. Charles County, Jersey County, St. Louis County, Festus, the Potosi area, over into the Illinois side, that's where we have to heighten our severe weather awareness, okay? We have to be a little bit more on guard on what is actually happening, because, like I said, we're not going to have a lot of warning for quick spin-up tornadoes. They're just hard to forecast. Can't really issue a watch because you just don't know if it's going to happen. And so we might get a severe thunderstorm watch, which may include some tornadoes. So, like I said, make sure you're following. We're going to be posting radar updates. We'll have live streams. We'll have everything. We're going to have all of our team come in the afternoon time, right at lunchtime. Our team will be on staff, and everybody's going to be posting warnings, live streams, and reading data. So we're going to have full staff coming in tomorrow afternoon. Make sure we're preparing for your event here. So like I said, the main time frame is we need to watch from 12 all the way to about 5 o'clock. So 12 to 5 is when we need to be prepared, and then the overnight hours is where we'll see the snowfall. And I think the snowfall will be just fine. No worries there. And honestly, if we take a look at the NAM model here, it actually shows something a little bit different. And I'm going to show you that because as we go into Sunday, it shows showers and thunderstorms. Showers and thunderstorms at 7 a.m. And this is very interesting. And why I say this is interesting, because remember how last weather event, remember how the last weather event, the cap held us in place and it didn't give us any severe storms until it got to the Illinois side and it just did whatever it wanted to do. And this is a different scenario. We're not going to really have a cap to shield us this time, but what we're going to have is cause some early morning prefrontal early ahead storms, whatever you want to call it, and that could limit the instability because it'll take everything that is there. Because you can see, look at the storms. The storms get severe here early parts of the morning. I don't really see much, but it'll be thunderstorms, and by the time the cold front comes through, look, it's all the way, the severe weather risk is all the way down to the southeast where it didn't rain or anything like that. And we're just stuck with a little bit of rain and thunderstorms. And then we'll get some widespread rain a little bit later and some wraparound snow flurries like that. But I think that is something to watch. We'll have to see how it goes later tonight. But I think the main forecast was stick between 12 and 5. For the severe weather event. And like I said, if you're just tuning in, we are going to be live for this severe weather event. So we're going to be live on YouTube and on Facebook. Okay, so if you want to keep it on TV or if you're on the go, you can watch it on your phone, watch it in the background, whatever you want to do, we will be live. And like I said, we have to watch. It's going to be forming just west of Warrenton, and as it moves, it's going to start ramping up the severe weather intensity. So like I said, the Warrenton area is like that borderline if it's actually going to be severe. But we really need to watch everybody in this area. If it doesn't rain beforehand, which I will let you guys know if that factors the instability. But this area that I'm about to draw here, if you're anywhere in this area right here, you need to watch out for 70-mile-per-hour winds. And some gusty debris tornadoes will be possible. Remember, EF0 tornadoes only about 80 to 90 mile per hour winds. So that is going to be that. Let's see. Mom is asking in the chat, when is it going to start? Or tomorrow? Not quite sure what you're asking there, but I think you're asking what time it's going to start in Farmington. And I think about like 1 p.m. 1 p.m., 2 p.m. is when it's going to start, but it's really not going to get going until 2 p.m. That at 2 p.m., that's when we have to watch for some quick spin up tornadoes, isolated damaging winds, or scattered damaging winds, up to 70, possibly 80 mile per hour winds that will be blown around during that time. So that is what we're supposed to be watching. And as we go into the snowfall mount, we'll show the temperatures in just a second. We'll show you the temperature roller coaster here. And honestly, you may get sick because it's a fast temperature change and your body's really not used to it. Like I used our new electric barbecue grill and oh my goodness, everybody, I am addicted, okay? Got the George Foreman, okay. Weather stream, not food stream, everybody. And I'm just going to show you this is like worst case scenario according to the National Weather Service here. And you can see most of the places are really not seeing anything. It's like 1 inch, 0.7 inch. And you see mostly on the high side. This is total. on the high side, we could see an inch. And I think a lot of it is not going to stick because the ground is going to be so warm. The ground is just going to be so warm, and depending, you really have to have, like, make it snow hard for it to, accumulate on the ground and take over the ground, warm ground temperature. So MODOT is probably not going to be out, so don't expect that, even if something does happen. But honestly, on the snow side, it's really going to have to take me like a lot of convincing to really see, what's actually going to happen as far as like a winter storm. But I think most of it is going to be to the north of us. That's why we're having severe weather. It's really, we're just getting the backside, like it's just fleshing it out kind of thing. We're just getting a little snippets of it. So, Mom says, I'm moving to a state without the stupid weather. Unfortunately, at this point in the game, there's really no good place to move. But, Missouri's pretty nice. Tasha says, hello, Tasha. Glad to see you. Thank you so much for the update. I have been having anxiety about all day. And, one good thing, everybody, is when I don't think it's going to be crazy, I'm not going to blow up your feed. And the reason is because I don't want to over scare you and then nothing happens. Like, if I don't think it's going to be bad, I'm just going to just post, just to let you know that it's going to be possible. But if it's like an outbreak, I'll blow up your feed like there's no tomorrow. We have multiple streams, stuff like that. So that's a good way to know. If you see a lot of posts coming from me, it means you really need to be on guard. If you don't see a lot of posts from me, it means, it's not really that significant. I'm just making you aware of what could be happening. Mom says, I hate to even hear the word tornado. I'll need anxiety meds tomorrow. Yes, but I'm not seeing like EF2 plus, like destruction, life-changing events. I'm not really seeing that. But real quick before I go back to that, let's take a look at the temperature. So we're going to be mild out the door in the morning. If you're going to church, think you'll be okay. Just bring an umbrella just in case if we do have some rain in the morning. I'll check the data off stream after we end, and I'll post up another full text of my honest breakdown of what I see and if we think that's going to be happening. But right now, I think we're 12 to 5 p.m. Let's watch out for not seeing any hail. But, of course, we have to watch out for some isolated brief tornadoes, some EF0s, EF1s, and we have to watch out for some strong wind gusts, 70 to maybe 85 miles per hour in spots will be possible. And we'll try to do our live coverage as best as we can as well. As long as we have power as well, we will be live here. So, 65 degrees is going to be the high temperature. Maybe a little bit warmer some spots, but 65, 66. And then look as the storms come through. You see the cold front right there? The bright part of your screen is just moving right across. And by the time we get to 9 p.m., we're going to be in the 30s. So we're going to have a 30-degree temperature drop, already below freezing when that happens. And one thing, everybody, hey, everybody, it's snowing at this time, according to the models, and we're still above freezing. You see why not a lot of snow is going to be happening? Yeah, so the cold air is just a little bit delayed, which is really going to help us out. But look, by the time we get at midnight, we're at 32 degrees. So like I said, some of us are going to be sick on Monday morning due to the temperatures. And then out the door, we're going to be about 22 degrees. 22 degrees out the door on Monday. And you can see some places out to the west near St. Joseph, Kansas City, they're almost in the single-digit temperatures. And that's just a powerful cold front. There's a lot of Arctic air that was sitting up here. Wait, let me show you. There's a lot of Arctic air that was just piling up near Canada. And it finally grabbed something. And it was like, you know what? This is my time. Put me in, coach. This is the time to pull the cold air down, and that's what it's doing. You can see, look at the temperatures, like -8 in places like that, and it finally has some time to go down and cool us off. So that is what we're seeing, and like I said, it's not uncommon for us to have this kind of pattern. And just watch the temperature map, okay? Just take a look at the temperature map and just watch the cold air just come down. It's like someone opened up the umbrella, and you can see, look at the cold air just dropping down. Just dropping down in our area. And look, high temperatures in the early parts of Monday morning in Florida are going to be in the 40s. And unfortunately, I think they'll probably have winter coats, scarves on, and they probably do not know how to operate the heat. So that's going to be very unfortunate for them. But cold air, that is the Arctic blast that everybody calls. It's just a shot of cold air that comes down. Just some fancy wording, just to sound cool. But it's really just cold air coming down to our area, and that is the situation. So, like I said, let's go back let's see if the latest data goes out. Let's see, let's take a look at the latest data, see if it goes out here. And let's take a look here. Just wanted to take a look to see if there's actually anything. Once again, time is the top part of the screen. Let's see if we get any data. It looks like it just ran. Appreciate everybody liking and spamming the like button. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. And you'd like to see the thermodynamics of this storm. Okay, we'll show you in just a second. You guys want to see all that algebra mess. Okay, we'll show you. So, like I said, this model, take a look here. And, oh, Crystal Evans, this is perfect timing here. And hey, Kanan, I'm just letting you know the outside lights are strobe lights. So, just letting you know. And, okay, sorry about that. Okay, so this is what I was afraid of, everybody. There is morning thunderstorms. There is morning thunderstorms, and that could limit the severe threat, honestly, everybody. So we have to keep watching that and see how that plays out, because that will definitely limit the severe threat. But as the furthest data that we have, Crystal, this is the latest timing on what I'm thinking. So if everything holds and we don't have any rain in the morning, this is what it's going to look like. So chances of rain in the early morning parts that could limit the severe weather risk, but it's going to start forming at 11 a.m. Okay, at 11 a.m. it's going to start forming. 12 p.m. is when it starts getting its act together. The main event starts at 1 p.m. The second line right here is the main event. This is where we have to watch when it develops. If we can see a brief, strong tornado and damaging winds, this is where it's going to start, just west of our area, okay, parts of our area. And as it moves to the east, it's going to gain intensity. And once it turns into a line, this is how the last severe weather event went. And that's where we'll start to see 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, isolated weak tornadoes, EF1, EF0 tornadoes will be possible. And like I mentioned before, we're probably not going to have a tornado watch. We may, but don't be surprised if we don't. It does not mean we're not having a tornado. It does mean it will be possible, but we really think the damaging wind threat is going to be the main threat. And even I think that. I think the 70+ mile per hour winds are going to be the main threat. I don't think everybody's going to see an isolated tornado, but majority of us are going to be reporting 70+ mile per hour winds, 60 mile per hour winds, like that. I really do see that being the main threat. And by the time it gets into the afternoon time, this 3 p.m. at the top part of your screen, that's when it fully turns into a line, and that's when we can be talking about 80+ mile per hour winds. And we could see that's when, honestly, once it leaves the area, that's where the strongest part of seeing, or the greatest chances of seeing, the tornadoes. So that is that. And by 5 p.m., it is going to be out of the area. We'll have a brief lull in the action, and then we'll have some spotty, the isolated snow flurries that may result up into an inch around the area. Hail threat, Crystal? Look at the hail threat. You're going to be very satisfied with the hail threat. This is the hail threat. Let's take this off so you're not confused. You can see the hail threat is 0. We are not expecting any hail. But like I said, we can't rule out some isolated hail, but it's really not common when you have a line of storms. It's more of a wind and brief tornado threat, so not really expecting any hail. You can see Mother Nature was nice and gave us a free pass a free pass and gave all the hail up to the north near Quincy and down near the south of Farmington and near the Marion area. So hail threat is not the play, but like I said, the main reason, honestly, everybody, the main reason why we have the slight risk is for the wind. Okay? That's why we have the slight risk. That's why we have the 2 out of 5. Okay? The scale is kind of hard to understand, but there's certain categories of the percentages that determine what the outlook is going to be. So it determines if you're going to have 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5. And the person who asked about the thermodynamics and the whatever the thing is, the place file looking thing, we'll get to that in just a second. But this is what you see on your screen. This is why we have an enhanced and why we have a slight risk. So the enhanced is because we have the red risk. That's why the enhanced got. It's not for the tornadoes. We're not seeing enhanced tornado threat. We're seeing enhanced wind threat. And that's why we have a slight risk. Because honestly, everybody, if you go to the tornado, this right here is equivalent to a marginal threat. This is equivalent to a marginal threat. So like 1 out of 5 with a chance of seeing a strong tornado. So 1 out of 5 plus. And basically, this is like a 2 out of 5. So, like, it's very low tornado risk. And you see parts of, like, Troy and Warrenton don't even see anything. They're not even in the tornado risk. So, you know, that is that. Mike Ford is asking about Hillsboro. Hello, Mike. Glad to see you. Hopefully, you are having a nice evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. And right now, Mike, we do expect to see your storms around the 2, we really think 2 and 3. 3 is probably the bullseye, but what I was telling everybody is beforehand is it might rain in the morning, which will limit these line of storms. But I had to check the evening data, the overnight data, see how that plays out. We'll make a post around like 9:30, so make sure you're checking on that, see if that holds. But so far, it's been consistent on showing this line of storms. So let's say about 3 p.m., and then the snow is not going to be until overnight. We're only expecting a couple flurries, things like that, nothing too crazy. And if we go back to the probability here, and I think there's, yeah, okay, so now the map wants to work, everybody. So the map wants to work, so for the Hillsboro area, we are talking about, Hillsboro's way over here, about 0.4 inches of snow for the Hillsboro area. There's really not any far place. You really have to go up north here to really see some snow, and you really have to go to, I don't know, Wisconsin has weird names, but up there in Wisconsin, you know where I'm talking about. 32 inches of snow will be possible. Now, my question to you guys is, would you guys rather have 32 inches of snow, or would you guys rather have isolated tornado threat and a 70-mile-per-hour wind threat? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat if you would rather have the almost 40 inches of snow, or you would rather have all the isolated tornado threat and the severe weather threat. Let me know. I'm really curious if you guys will love the snow or if you guys want the severe weather. And unfortunately, neither is an option because we all want that, okay? I tried this new drink at Deerbergs. I think it's been around, but it's like sparkling ice. Got the berry lemonade flavor. It's really good. You know, not sponsored, but, you know, it's really good for you. It's only $1 at Deerbergs right now. Jerome says snow. You know, I was leaning towards that. You know, this thing about it, you have nice lakes. You have nice lakes up there during the summertime, and you just have to go through the snow part. And you don't even have to worry about tornadoes. Unless you're like lower Michigan, you have to worry about it. But like I said, look at the snowfall potential, everybody. Washington, it's like ½ inch expected, 1 inch. Most of us are just expecting a dusting to 1 inch on the high side. Mike says snow over having to fix shingles during the rain. Okay, but what if I said this? You get the 32 inches of snow plus all the snow. Hello, John, how are you? You get 32.5 inches of snow plus whatever you get over winter time, and you still get summer. Now, now I'm starting to sound like a salesman, okay? But that honestly sounds pretty good because like our roller coaster stuff that we get down here, I just want either we get all severe weather, we get nothing, or we just get snow. Like I just wish it made up its mind. But the main reason is really just in the middle, honestly. That's why we get a little bit of both. Like we're just not far south enough to get all the rain and storms, and we're just not too far north to get all the significant snow. So that's basically it's just the geographically area. That's mainly what it is. But the snow threat, everybody, the 6 people, and everybody who is watching later on the rewatch, don't worry about the snow. 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 Okay? Don't worry about the snow. Yeah, normally Missouri's on medication this time of the month because it does have bipolar issues, but not quite sure what it's doing this season. So, but you can see that, yeah, the snow is not going to be an issue. Warm ground temperatures might even melt whatever we have. So we'll have to watch that. But the main thing is we need to pay attention to the afternoon hours for a potential severe weather event. I say potential, it's not guaranteed because we have to watch how the morning data looks. But like I said, we will have to watch the afternoon, evening time. So it's up to you if you want to cancel your plans, but make sure you have multiple ways to receive alerts. Team Kenny Weather will be live streaming, so we'll have all our staff come in around like 11 a.m., 12 p.m. We'll have our staff come in, and we'll make sure we cover all areas. Warnings are being posted on Facebook. We're live streaming. Everything is going out. So we'll have multiple ways. I think there's a way you can set notifications to be alert when we send out posts. So make sure you check on that because we will be posting updates during the entire day. Not quite sure when the weekly weather video is going to go out. We'll determine that as the severe weather happens. We're not going to focus on that, but we will have our severe weather update, the one where the guy says the intro, the AI man says the intro. We'll have those. We'll have those little quick videos. We'll have detailed text posts. Like, we're going to be covered in all departments on tomorrow. So we're going to have plenty of ways of giving you the information. So if you know people that are looking for weather information, make sure you're sharing our weather page because we'll be live covering. We have all of our cameras, everything that is going to be set up and ready to go for tomorrow. So we're going to have all the data. All of our team is going to come in, make sure we're posting timely updates. We're not just going to post text posts. We're going to be live. You can interact with us and things like that. If the severe weather goes crazy. So like I said, I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but we're going to be here. We're going to be here live. We're going to be here on the page. We're going to be on YouTube, everywhere. We need to make like a weather app where like my voice will talk to you and tell you when there's a warning, and you can watch the live stream in the app. That'll be fairly nice to do. We're working on that, but like I said, main time frame is between 1 and all the way till about 5 o'clock. So if you have anything between there, make sure you have your weather alerts on. Make sure you're checking back for the information on the weather page. We'll probably have a morning video update, like short video update, determining if we're having that rain going on. And then we'll probably have like 11 a.m., 10 a.m. update going on. And then we'll have our live stream. If we don't have a live stream, it means we're not having any severe weather. But if we do have severe weather, as soon as the first warning's issued, we will be live covering the event, okay? So don't you worry, we'll be live. We'll make sure we take care of you, what's going on here. And by the evening time, it's going to be good. And then as the snow starts in, like I said, it's really nothing to worry about. A lot of people were forecasting. I got a lot of messages saying there's like a big snowstorm coming to the area. Not really seeing that happen. Temperatures are a little bit late coming in for like anything for the freezing mark. And I don't really see any freezing early morning, but let's just watch the bridges and the overpasses. Those we'll have to watch just due to that fast freeze. But other than that, not really seeing a whole lot going on. So, like I said, the severe weather threat, I think the 2 out of 5 will be good, but it could well very be knocked down if we see those morning storms. So If we see those morning storms, it's really going to limit the instability, and we're really going to have to do the warm front. I mean, the cold front, not the warm front. I almost forgot. I just got alerted in my ear that we never went over to the fancy weather screenshot. I don't know why I just had a brain fart there. But do want to let you know a couple things here. This is for the people who want the extra classroom. This is the setup for the severe weather risk. So you see how we go out with height, everybody, and the lines are a little bit more straight. You remember the last storm? They were like coming out like towards this area when we were capped. Really not capped. This red thing right here is basically just the fuel. This is like the ignition for the storm. So we actually have that. We found our car keys this time, everybody. And as we go down here, you see all these numbers. And it almost looks like we're back in school and we're doing like algebra, finding the obtuse angle. That's kind of what it looks like, honestly. But what we really need to look at is this CAPE. It's convective available potential energy. And all that means is the energy for the storms, okay? Just that long wording for no reason. And at the surface temperature is, you know, like when we feel it down at the surface when it's hot and muggy and nasty. We need these about like 1,000, and we're at 1,200. So we're going to have thunderstorms, okay? Mid-levels are a little bit low, so it supports thunderstorms. Forecasted is about 16,000. That could support some strong storms, okay? So there we go. And thank you, Linda, for the follow. I really do appreciate that. And then the most unstable is the 12. So we, in the energy department, we have energy, okay? And as we go into the atmosphere, wind shear is going to be good. And we have slight change with height, okay? So here's your wind bars with height. We have a slight curve. Winds are going like this, and then they're slowly dipping, and then they finally go like this. So there's small wind change, so that is what's helping. And I do want to let you know, when these two are together, that means that you could see some severe weather, which they are. And I'm just showing this in the basic. I'm not giving you the detail because you guys won't understand, so I'm just giving it in the easiest. And then basically, your dew point needs to be above 55. And at this moment, the dew point is only at 59. So it's not like super moist air in the atmosphere, like super muggy air. So that's a part of the severe weather risk as well. Not really having a lot of like moisture content with this. We have a lot of energy, but the moisture content is like almost bare minimum. And also, we do have a little bit of spin in the atmosphere, but it's not a lot. You almost want like the photograph to go like this. And you can see, so like I said, there's going to be spin in the atmosphere, and that's why we do have that marginal tornado threat. So that is the reason why that tornado threat is there, because we will have a little bit of spin in the atmosphere. Wind shear will be strong, and we will be having strong energy as well. And then one thing as well at the very bottom, you guys probably can't see, but it's like the surface 3 kilometers, blah blah blah. You probably don't know what that means, but it especially helps the tornado farms. You really need it at a 7 or higher, and we're at a 6. So like I said, the tornado threat is not high, but if we do get a strong one, it wouldn't be surprising because we are like borderline there. So that is that. So far, surroundings are really not showing any significant hail. We're not showing any hail at all. So that is something to worry about. And basically on the effective layer, we're really looking at weak tornadoes as well. So that is that. Temperatures, we already went over. It's going to be crashing as well. It's going to be like all of you guys on 270 when you see the cops sitting right at 70 and you guys all slow down to the speed limit. That's how the temperatures are going to be. Okay? When you guys see police cars and you guys slow down and we get in the right lane, that is how the temperatures are going to act. But last thing I want to show you before we head off here, because like I said, there's really not a lot of snow to talk about, and we really got through the the severe weather risk. Like I said, the winter weather, the wind advisory, we'll post this tomorrow when it happens. We're not going to post it now because, like I said, it really doesn't mean anything, honestly. I'm not quite sure why they do this. But we're just expecting some south winds shifting to the west 20 to 30 miles per hour with gusts up to 50. So we have to watch out, because if you're in an open field, you could get a little bit rocky out there. But gusty winds will blow around unsecure objects, tree limbs could be blown down, and a few power outage may be caused, not sure why they put may result, but may cause. And we expect this around 10 a.m. Sunday to noon. This is not a wind advisory for the strong winds with the storms. It's before the storms are coming in. So it's going to be very, very windy. And unfortunately, everybody, it's not going to blow over us, okay? It's just not going to work like that, okay? So make sure you use extra caution while you're driving your vehicle, especially the high-profile vehicles, any box trucks, semi-trucks, SUVs, any fancy luxury cars. Just be careful. You might have to use two hands on the wheel, and you might burn a little bit of extra gas, but trust me, it's normal. It's not your car, okay? So the last thing I want to do, like I said, we're going to go over the National Weather Service, okay? National Weather Service makes graphics here, and, okay, very basic. So, they're basically highlighting key messages is strong cold front will pass through. We already said that. Then the line of showers, we already said that. Strong wind gusts are expected Sunday morning through Monday morning. Oh, yeah, I want to let you guys know that Monday morning, it'll be gusty, too. So behind the front, it's going to be gusty. So wind chill values could be in the single digit in some spots. So if you're not on spring break, that's good because it's not going to feel like spring. So that is going to be nice. But if you have to be at the bus stop or out the door, make sure you're taking a heavy coat with you. So basically, National Weather Service is highlighting damaging winds and a few brief weak tornadoes are primary threats. That's what we just said. So far, the National Weather Service is agreeing what we're thinking here. They have a little bit of timing issues. So the best severe window from the National Weather Service is places near the Herman, right at the Union. Let's throw Sullivan, Troy, Warrenton. Places like those between 1 and 3 is the best severe window. Because it's just a line of storms. Once the line passes you and you feel cold air, severe weather threat is going to be gone. It's not going to be an all-day type situation. It's going to be like a couple hours, maybe like a half hour, and we're done with the severe weather threat. So it's going to be moving out pretty fast. Best severe window for the rest of us, if you're not in those counties that I just called or areas, is 3 to 5 p.m. But timings could always shift, okay? So it's going to develop midday. You can see out to the west, like we mentioned, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Columbia area. And here is the graph. So you can see we are expecting not an outbreak of tornadoes. I really like that they do this. I'm working on making something like this. So you can see, look at the tornado threat. Tornado threat is we just have a couple. It's on the lows. Like, you know, when you walk up the stairs and you get the first stair and you're like, oh my goodness, still got the rest. We're only at the first stair. We're not at outbreak, and we're at weak. EF0, EF1. Almost just like what we saw this past storm system. It's almost literally the same thing, everybody. We just don't have a cap, and we have a little bit higher chance. That's basically it. And also, we're going to have some money drop from the sky, so that's going to be very nice. And we're thinking about some nickel size or smaller, but it's going to be very isolated. Like, we're not having any threat, but maybe some pocket change will fall out of the sky. And damaging wind threat to your right hand side of the screen, we are looking at scatter 70 miles per hour. Look, it's one box off from having your roof blown off, okay? So, like I said, we have to watch for some power outages. Will be likely, will be possible, and some damaging winds. So make sure you're securing all those outdoor objects starting at 10 a.m. Right when the advisory goes in place, that's when we have to watch. So they're confident that, here's what they're confident. And I always want to show you because, you know, I always have my forecast, but I always want to show you other forecasts too. And National Weather Service saying hazards, they're confident that there will be damaging winds and brief weak tornadoes. So, like I said, that's what we're kind of forecasting. And showers and thunderstorms will become more widespread as the front progresses. That's why I said as the front keeps moving, it's going to start building. So, we're just at the beginning part. And then timing on Saturday are most favored to the mid-late afternoon. Not a lot of change with that as well. And the most certain point is the strongest thunderstorms are favored during the mid to late afternoon period. However, Limited instability field may keep the line of shower storms along the cold front near to slightly below severe limits as it has across the region. There is a higher potential for more widespread severe weather to our southeast. So that's exactly what I said. If it rains in the morning, it'll limit the severe weather threat. So that's why the severe weather threat is low, is what they're thinking. So their official snowfall forecast is nothing to 1 inches. The greatest potential will be for roadways will be with higher snowfall, so not really seeing any morning travel. And on the worst case scenario, we'll see 1 inch, and the probability of exceeding 1 inch is 22%. And then the probability of exceeding 4 inches is not even popping up. Nothing there. And we're high on the timing. Snowfall accumulations will be okay. We just have to watch the track of the system. Nothing too much there. That's why we could see the 1 inch. And then we just have the wind advisory, which some places could hit 55 miles per hour. So some people, the wind might be going more than you're driving. So there you go. So, but it's going to be going, everybody. If you're on the highway, if you're traveling, the winds are going from south wind shifting to the west. So if you're going north or south, you're gonna feel it pretty good. And if you're going south, you're gonna be with the wind. If you're going north, you're gonna be against the wind. Okay, so plan your travel accordingly if you're in a high-profile vehicle. Okay, so, but that is the breakdown, everybody. Looks like we got an hour live stream, so that's good. And for the people that are still there, we are gonna be live covering the storms. We're gonna be posting the updates here. So that is, we're gonna be available around the clock. Like I said earlier, our team is coming in around 11 a.m. We're going to be posting updates, radar updates, short 1-minute videos on any updates that are going on. And we will be live if we get a severe weather threat. If we see a severe thunderstorm watch, don't think the tornadoes are gone. It's hard to issue a tornado watch for quick spin up tornadoes, okay? We might get one because we could see a strong one, but we might also just get a severe thunderstorm watch. So also, if we get a severe thunderstorm watch, we'll immediately go live as well. And for the folks who can't tune into the live stream, we will be posting the warnings as well on the Facebook page. So if you can't watch or if you're busy, you can see it on our page and you can watch me as well. So lots of ways of getting information tomorrow here on the Facebook page. We're going to be working all day during this weather event as long as we need it on Sunday. So don't you worry, we're going to be prepared, and we will get out the weather video as soon as possible. We might wait until Monday morning to throw out the weather video, or Monday evening. So we'll just have to see. Maybe Monday evening or Sunday evening we'll throw out the weather video for the weekly weather video. So we're not really too focused on that. We're focused on keeping you prepared and ahead of the storm. So if we have to delay the weather video, that is why. Thomas says, Mom should have waited to take the cruise this weekend. I know, right? This would have been a perfect day to get out because look at the temperatures through the rest of the week. You know, here's a quick preview of my weather forecast here. And if you want to know what I use for the temperatures, I got into question that. I used the National Weather Service blended model. It's like 5 or 6 models or so just to forecast the temperatures. And then I usually like using the Euro. Excuse me. Usually like using the European model for the rest of it. So, just a brief look into the week before we head off here. Temperatures are going to crash. You can see the cold front, boom, is coming through. I said boom is coming through. And 32 degrees is going to be freezing. And look at Monday. Monday's high temperature, not even getting above freezing. Not even to getting above freezing. We are done with the severe weather update. We're just going over what to expect next week real quick since the video will be late. And you can see Tuesday, we're going to be in the mid-teens. We're going to be in the mid-teens for Tuesday. And as we go into Tuesday, nice dividing line. Most of us will be in the 30s. And then as we go into Wednesday, we're warming up again. You can see near 60 on Wednesday. And as we go into Thursday, we're going to remain mild. 65, almost near 70 on Thursday. That's going to be nice. Overnight temperatures on Thursday, 54 degrees. And as we get into Friday, look at this. This is classic Missouri weather. Monday, we're below freezing. By the end of the week, we are hot, 70 degrees. Tell me that's not Missouri. Tell me that's not Missouri. 70 degrees on Friday. We're not dropping back that much. Almost 65 degrees on Saturday. And on Sunday, we are seeing 60-degree temperatures. And it looks like going downstream, it does look like it will continue. So that's Missouri weather. Mom said it happened while I was on the cruise too. I was a nervous wreck with my kids here without me. Oh yeah, we did have that severe weather threat. So last thing, I'm just looking here on the stream, see if there's anything happening, and then we'll wrap up the stream. We're basically wrapping up the stream, everybody. Slowly wrapping up the stream. It's basically just me liking to talk. That's all that is. Alright, let me just look through here real quickly. Let me see if there's anything going on. So we have the Sunday thread. Okay, Euro is on board with light snow showers. Tuesday looks to be nice. Some flurries? On Wednesday? Don't think so when it's going to be 70 degrees, but we'll check on that. And, oh yeah, that's Mom's birthday, March 18th. Happy birthday. And as we go into the weekend, oh, nice. Nice and dry. So, like I said, make sure you have lots of ways to receive alerts. Make sure you're checking out on the Facebook page for all the updates in the YouTube page. Like I said, we'll be posting all day long on this Facebook page, blowing up your feed. So make sure you have notifications set. You can also get notified on YouTube when we go live, so you get a personal notification from me when we do go live. And don't worry about the snow impacts, maybe an inch on the high side, but of course we'll post updates on that. And after the severe weather threat, we will have our weekly weather video. Mom says before we head out, she said, thanks for keeping us up to date. I love having my own weatherman in the family. You do a great job. Yes, a lot of people tell me that you guys enjoy me being the weatherman. You guys have a personal weatherman right in front of your face at the workplace, outside. And of course, if you see me in public, don't be nervous. I think there's someone nervous at Deerbergs. So don't be afraid to come up to me. I'm very friendly. I'll talk to you all day. And that's that. So without further ado, I'm going to end the live stream. We're going to look at some more data. We'll have an update, a text post update at around 9:30. Make sure you check that out. And we're going to rest up for potentially long day of coverage for this potential Sunday severe weather event. So as you're going to sleep, don't be scared. It is possible, but it's not likely if we have the severe weather event. Alright, everybody, have a good rest of your night. Enjoy the warm weather outside while it lasts, because it will change in literally 24 hours. Have a good night. Hopefully, we won't have to see you live, but have a great night. Gregory says, oh, can't wait for your hat to arrive. Gregory, real quick, they make them 2 orders. So it's going to be a freshly print hat, and it's going to be this one. This one on top of my head. So, like I said, Gregory, make sure he was the winner. Make sure you send a picture to me. I won't post it on Facebook, but I would love to see that you got it. Love that you're wearing it. And merch store is opening soon, where you can get a shirt, let's see, shirt like this. You get a shirt like this, and we have some other shirts that are coming, designed by my girlfriend, that will be available hopefully the first day of actual spring. So, without further ado, we're going to go off stream, look at some data, enjoy the nice temperatures, and we will have to rest up for a potential long day of severe weather coverage. So, have a great night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Just let me know that you guys like these live streams, and we'll keep you updated around the clock on the Facebook page. Oh, and Wendy Lucchese coming with the buzzer beater, last call for alcohol. Cheers. Cheers for being the last call for alcohol. Yes, you can't wait for your TKW mug. Oh, the mug. I'm going to call you Miss Lucchese because, you know, that's just what I know you as. But it's the tall mug. So it's like the taller. It's not like the short one. It's the tall one. So you can get a lot of it in there is all I'm saying. So, but yes, congrats to the winners, Wendy Lucchese and Gregory. congrats to you guys on winning the surprise live stream. I just felt nice, and why not, before the merch store opens, give away a couple unreleased items. So that is nice. But both of you guys, let me know when you guys get those items. Send me a picture. I love to see it, and I appreciate you guys all for being supporters on the weather page. And Wendy says, you may call me Wendy. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, yes. You should be very excited. It has a big logo of Team Kenny Weather. I'm so excited that you got it. So, I'm glad you picked it. And, yes, I put it in a random, like, name generator. And it popped up right on you and Gregory. So, there we go. So, but I think I'm going to head off the stream. I love to talk to you guys so much, but I just got more data to look at, and I had to rest up for the potential live cover. So we'll see you tomorrow on the weather page. Make sure you're checking back for updates, as we'll keep you ahead of the storm all day long. So have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully we don't see you tomorrow. That means we have no severe weather if you don't see me tomorrow. So have a great night. Drink one for me. Say cheers. And that should cover the severe weather threat. Okay, everybody? Have a great night.